Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam to all.
हरे कृष्ण बाबू जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Yeah. Thank you for joining. Welcome all. Okay. So we will quickly start with prayers. So those who know the prayers, please recite along with me. Okay. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakyam Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupagata Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Dapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagjatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Parijana Setam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahaganita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namne Nama Acharya नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचार निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश धारणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्याय नामने गौरतुसे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna. So thank you all for joining today. So a warm welcome to all. How many of you remember where did we start the last class? I mean, before the six Ashtakam was done by Govardhan Prabhu.
3.27 Prabhu.
Wonderful. Thank you, Bharat Bhushan Prabhu. So great. Those who can switch on their videos, please do switch on your videos so that we'll have an interaction session. Okay. So today we will continue with the 3.28 of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So we were discussing about the third chapter, which deals with karma, okay, which is called Karma Yoga. Okay. So in the beginning of the third chapter, Arjuna questions Krishna that, when you stresses on knowledge, why do you want me to involve in a ghastly warfare? Okay. Better than that, I'll endeavor to, develop my knowledge. Like that, Arjuna questions, and Arjuna also says that now I'm confused with your words. So I wanted to know which is great, knowledge or work. Then Krishna starts talking how work in knowledge is work with knowledge is important. Okay, so in that series, okay, Krishna tells what are the actual knowledge, what are the actual actions, karmas, which are prescribed to the human beings in the beginning of the creation, and how those things should be performed, and for whom these karmas are given as an exception. Okay, when and how one should perform these karmas. Okay, all those stuff Krishna starts speaking, and how human beings are bewildered. Okay, this was also spoken by Lord Krishna in 3.27. Krishna says, Prakriter Griyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvasa Hankar Vimudatma Karta Hamiti Manyate. Krishna says that, human beings being bewildered by the three modes of material nature, they are forced to do the actions according to the three modes of material nature. Okay. And Krishna also says nobody can get rid of these three modes of material nature until unless they are spiritually enlightened. Okay. So now we'll start with 3.28. Okay. So Krishna, the intention of Krishna is that, not to renounce the karmas or not to completely involve in doing karmas only. However, Krishna wants Arjuna to understand that do karmas with knowledge of Supreme Personality. Okay. How do we have to carry out? That is being taught. And what will block us to do karmas with knowledge? That is being spoken by Krishna henceforth. So just give me one quick moment. Okay. Is everybody able to see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, great. So Krishna was speaking to Arjuna. He was saying that, though, how many ever times, how many ever scriptures convey that karma should be done with proper knowledge, without a fruity mentality. But still, some people, they try to endeavor and perform karmas with a fruity mentality to gain something by doing some sort of prescribed karmas. Okay. In that series, Krishna says, Tattvavitu Mahabaho Guna Karma Vibhagayo Guna Guneshu Vartanta iti Matvana Sajjate. I request anyone to read this translation. Yes, Priyanka Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Absolute truth, O mighty armed, does not engage himself in the senses and sense differences between work in devotion and work for fruitive results. Hare Krishna.
So one who is in knowledge of absolute truth, Almighty Arm, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the difference between work and devotion, work for fruitive results. So a person who is enlightened with the self-realization, what is absolute truth? Can anybody tell what is absolute truth means? Yes, Priyanka Mataji.
Krishna consciousness and the devotional services is the absolute truth.
Yeah, knowing Krishna is the Supreme Personality is absolute truth. Knowing God as a Supreme Personality and our relation with God is a servitorship. Knowing that is the absolute truth. And working with that consciousness is called absolute truth. Okay. So person with that knowledge performing karmas, so he will refrain himself in performing karmas for fruity results. Because person who is enlightened, who knows the absolute truth and who knows the relation between absolute truth and us, is always aware of what will happen if we perform truth, if we perform karmas without the consciousness of Krishna. Okay, he knows very well that performing karmas without consciousness of God will further bind us in this material world. We might be enjoying some sort of, enjoyment which is not a permanent enjoyment that might bind us further and that might make us entrapped in the birth and death cycle. So this knowledge, the person who is enlightened will have. That's the reason he will stay away doing the karmas without he will stay away doing the karmas, okay, for fruitive results. He will only do karmas. I mean, there is no difference between the karmas that are prescribed. Both will perform the same karmas. However, one will perform the karmas with a kind of fruitive mentality. One will do the same karmas with a renouncing mind of detachment, mentality. So that will enlighten one, and that will further bind one. Consciousness is important. Okay, and henceforth, Krishna says that Prakrtir sammooda sajjante gunakarmasu tan akrisnavido mandan krisnavinna vichilyet. Can anyone read this?
Shall I go ahead, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in material activities and become attached. But the wise should not unsettle them, although these duties are inferior due to the performer's lack of knowledge.
So here, people who are, I mean, with what consciousness they do activities, who are materially, bewildered by the material modes of nature. What are the material modes of nature? Can anybody tell the three modes of material nature?
Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva.
Yeah, the three gunas. Okay. So these three gunas, person influenced by these three gunas, okay, they fully engage themselves in material activities. So these sattva, rajas, tamo gunas, they influence the intelligence of the human beings. Hence, they involve in material activities. Okay. But the wise, should not settle them, although these duties are inferior due to the performance lack of knowledge. Okay. So I'll tell you pastime of a great king called Nruga Maharaj. How many of you know, how many of you heard of Nruga Maharaj, who comes from the dynasty of Ikshvaku? Okay, no problem. So you know Ikshvaku dynasty, right? From the dynasty where Lord Ramachandra appeared, the dynasty where in which Lord Ramachandra appeared. Okay, so in the same dynasty there was a king called Nriga Maharaj. So this king was a great pious king. Okay, he did a lot of charity activities. He donated as many cows as uh, those many stars that you see in the sky, he donated that many cows in charity. You can understand the pious mentality of that king. He donated those many cows to Brahmanas. So his daily activity was because it was possible because in that yuga, in Treta Yuga, the age of human beings were completely different. People used to live for thousands and thousands and years. Okay, we cannot compare. We cannot just think that how is it possible like that. Okay, the age of human beings who belong to that yuga was huge when compared to the age of the Kali Yuga Vasis. Okay. So that his daily activity was without donating the cows, he never used to do any other activity. He's once he gets up in the morning, does his morning rituals, then donate cows, then only he starts his ruling activities. So one day, what happened when he donated cows? Okay, so he has huge number of cows with him. I mean, within his um, Goshala. So one day, what happened when he donated a cow to a Brahmana, and this cow, okay, which was habituated to go around and eat grass with the other cows, and this cow, which was donated to a Brahmana, that cow again came back to the Goshala of the Nruga Maharaj king, and it started living with the other cows, where it used to live before it was donated. Okay. And nobody noticed that. And the Brahmana thought that the cow ran away somewhere into forest. Even Brahmana did not know that the cow went back to its previous Goshal, which belongs to Nruga Maharaj. Nobody noticed that. And the next day and after few days, again Nruga Maharaj, he donated the same cow to another Brahmin. Okay. So, I mean, since he had many cows, he was unable to recognize or he was unable to find out, the cows which are donated, which are not donated. So, without having knowledge of that, he donated the same cow to another Brahmin. Okay. Now, the first Brahmin to whom he donated the cow, that Brahmin, he was searching of his cow. And the first Brahmin, he found his cow being carried away by another Brahmin. And he went to that Brahmin and he asked the second Brahmin, "My dear sir, this cow belongs to me. You might have got mistakenly, taking away my cow. Please return my cow. The cow doesn't belong to you. This cow is being donated to me by Nriga Maharaj. So it ran away a few days back from my home, and now I guess you might have found it wandering here and there. and now you are taking it, but please, I am the right owner of this cow, so hence return it to me. Like that, the first Brahmana told to the second Brahmin. And the second Brahmin started talking to him, saying that, no, you are mistaken. This cow belongs to me. I just got it in charity from Ruga Maharaj. How can you claim that this is your cow? Then, the first Brahmin told him, my dear sir, I am a poor Brahmin. I don't have any other, possessions with me. My only possession was this cow, which was donated to me by Nriga Maharaj. I clearly remember um, clearly remember my cow. I know, how it looks like. And this is my cow. Like that, they started arguing with him. And then what they did, so let's do one thing. Let's go back to the king and let's ask the king that, let's ask the justice from king like that. Both of them thought and they went to Nruga Maharaj and they approached Nruga Maharaj. Okay. And they told the entire thing what happened, okay, about that cow. Now, Nruga Maharaj, he observed the cow and he understood that, mistakenly the cow which was donated to first Brahmin was again donated to the second Brahmin. He understood that that was his mistake. Then he went to the second Brahmin and he told to the second Brahmin that, my dear sir, it was my mistake that, I have, without noticing, I have donated this cow to you. However, this cow actually belongs to him. Somehow, this cow again came back when after I donated this cow to him, it again came back to me and, it got involved, it got mingled with my other cows. And without noticing that, I have donated it to you. Now, could you please return it back to me, return it back to this Brahmin, okay? Because I'll give you other cows. Like that, Nruga Maharaj told to the second Brahmin. And the second Brahmin thought that, and Nruga Maharaj, he told him that, please, I mean, with a mood of king, he spoke to second Brahmin that, how kings, usually because of their lot of, because of their position, they carry a kind of pride within them. And Nruga Maharaj told him that, my dear Brahman, I ask you to return back that cow to this Brahmin because it belongs to him. Now, the Brahmin, if he could have requested him very humbly, that Brahmin might have, showed mercy. Since, king trying to show his pride and demanding, this Brahmin told, my dear king, what kind of a king are you? I mean, don't you know you come from which dynasty? Is this what you thought you learned from your ancestors? You come from a Ikshvaku dynasty, and you're asking me the charity that you're given to me, you're asking to return. This was never done in your dynasty, in your family. Do you know what kind of consequences you have to undergo? Okay. Does any king ask somebody to return back the charity? Like that, the second Brahmin started speaking. Now, king understood that, he is nowhere ready to give. And he went back to the first Brahmin and he told, my dear sir, I will give you how many other cows you want instead of that cow, because he's not accepting. Now you accept. Then Brahmin said, this first Brahmin said, what do you think of Brahmin? What do you think of, what kind of a mentality should a Brahmin have? Do you know that? Do you think that, we are commercial, we are just living for, your charity? No, I am just asking, I'm claiming for my right charity, but you're not ready to give that charity. You're not fulfilling my charity that you gave to me. No, I don't want anything like that. Like that, both of them were not agreeing to return the cow. And after some time, both of them, what they did, they chastised the king. King, we never saw a foolish person like you. Hence, we don't want any charity from you. And they left the cow and they left from that king's palace. Now, Nriga Maharaj, he did not, care that at all because, he was doing many charities. For him, it was just a small thing. These charities he was doing to acquire a higher position, higher heavenly position. As I told you that, in the Karma Kanda section of Vedas, there are many karmas that are prescribed for human beings to get elevated to higher planets once they leave their body. Okay. So, see, the king was following such, fruity activities. Okay. Always there is a threat in performing activities with fruity mentality, because slightest mistake will make you to fall into the deepest, hellest situation. And what happened to the Nruga Maharaj means, after he left the body, when he approached Lord Emma, so Lord Emma, he asked Nruga Maharaj, my dear Nruga Maharaj, you did many charities. You absolutely deserve to enjoy the heavenly planets. However, there was a small mistake done by you. Because of that, you have to undergo a punishment. Then Nruga Maharaj thought that, it's common that human beings does mistakes. I might have did a small mistake. However, I did lot of pious activities that might help me to, immediately come back to heavenly plans, like that he thought. However, then Nruga Maharaj told that, it's okay, then that's fine. I'll first undergo the punishment of my mistake that I did. Then I'll, enjoy the heavenly plans. And the punishment of him is, punishment given to him was, he immediately became a chameleon. You know chameleon, right? How many of you know chameleon? It's a reptile which changes its colors. Hare Krishna. Yeah, Dharmesh.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, great. So, immediately turned as a chameleon, and he fell in a darkest well. And this well was, situated nearby Dwaraka. And this happened in Treta Yuga. From Treta Yuga to Dwapar Yuga, he had to undergo the punishment. When the Dwapar Yuga, when Dwapar Yuga started, when the Dwapar Yuga was going to end, we all know that, Lord Krishna appeared. And when the kids of Lord Krishna, Samba, Pradyumna, and others, when they were playing, they were playing with a ball, and the ball fell in the well, and they were unable to take the ball from that well. They called Krishna for help, and Lord Krishna, the boys were trying to take the ball, but they found that there is a huge chameleon in the well, and all these boys, kids, they are afraid, and they called Krishna, and Krishna came, and he immediately took that chameleon with his left hand, and he brought it back, and then he dropped on the ground. And that's when, by the touch of Krishna, the Nriga Maharaj again turned back to his original position, and he left to heaven. Okay, so this is the pastime of Nriga Maharaj, who did the actions, prescribed karmas for a fruitive result. Okay, Nriga Maharaj was very pious king, born in a great dynasty, Ikshvaku dynasty, which was the ancestor who started Ikshvaku dynasty was Lord Aditya himself, and he was born in such a great dynasty, and such a great personality had to undergo a great punishment while perform, because of which, because of the mistake that happened while performing the karmas with fruity mentality. However, now I'll tell you the very, very popular story that you all know. Okay, the story of Bali Maharaj. Okay, I don't elaborate it. Just the Bali Maharaj. He comes in a dynasty of demons. Okay, Rakshasa dynasty. He was the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. How many of you know that? Great.
Didn't know, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So Bali Maharaj was the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. So Bali Maharaj, when he got victory on the heavenly planets, all the devatas went approached Lord, and they asked him to help. And Lord went to Bali Maharaj in form of Lord Vamana, and he asked Bali Maharaj to give in charity 3 foot of land. Okay. And when Bali Maharaj was about to give the charity, his spiritual master, Sukracharya, he hinted Bali Maharaj that, my dear Bali, the person whom you are giving charity is not the right person. He is the absolute truth himself. He clearly notified Bali Maharaj, but still Bali Maharaj and Sukracharya also hinted that he came with some plan to destroy you. But still, Bali Maharaj was interested to donate what he promised to. And Bali Maharaj replied to Shukracharya that if the Lord Absolute Truth himself is coming and asking charity, then how fortunate I am. Like that, he thought with that mood, he gave the 3 foots of land with which Lord stepped the 1 foot on the entire, material world, 1 foot on the cosmic, and third foot he was waiting to step. But then, Bali Maharaj showed his head and he stepped on his head. That's how the charity was done to the and Bali Maharaj did the charity with the absolute truth consciousness. And we all know what happened to Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj was gifted with the downward lokas, and he was also Lord also promised him that he will also become one of the Indra. So this is what will happen. The first Nraga Maharaj did karmas with fruity mentality, what suffering he had to undergo. And Bali Maharaj, though comes from a very ignorant dynasty, except Prahlad Maharaj, I mean, there was Prahlad Maharaj son Virochan, he was also enlightened person. But however, so the Bali Maharaj coming from a Rakshasa dynasty, still with consciousness of serving Lord, helped him to uh, elevate to higher position. So this is what Lord wants to convey to Arjuna, that doing karmas with fruity mentality, where it will take, and doing karmas with absolute truth consciousness, where it will take. Okay, so now, so that's what Lord wants to convey to Arjuna. Okay. Henceforth, what Lord says, we'll see. My sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa niraj nirmamo bhutva ityasva vigata jwara. Can anybody read this? Anybody?
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Go ahead, Prabhu. Shivam Prabhu.
Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me, with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight.
So lethargy means laziness. Okay. So Krishna hence conveying to Arjuna that, my dear Arjun, you better renounce, surrender all your works to me and then perform without any desires of profit. Because we just understood what happens if we have any desires towards the profit of the karmas that we do, then we have to undergo the results of that karmas. That's the reason Krishna clearly conveying to Arjuna that you better surrender to me and do karmas. And Krishna is assuring him that in another way, and he is also telling Arjuna that don't get into the side of lethargy to fight, laziness to fight. Okay, because what the proprietorship of doing karmas will again bind. Okay, so me matam idam nityam anutishtanti manava shraddhavanto na suyanto munchate tepi karma me. Can anybody read this translation?
Can I, Prabhuji?
Go ahead, Prabhu.
Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fruit actions.
So Krishna is again assuring to Arjuna that, listen to me, surrender to me, understand and perform the karmas in the way I suggested. and hence I take the complete discharge of you getting unbinded from the fruitive actions. So Krishna is again assuring how the way he, relieved Bali Maharaj from the material bondages. In the way, Krishna is assuring Arjuna that he will take care of, relieving Arjuna from the material bondages. एत्वेदत् अभ्यासूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति ते मतं सर्वज्ञान विमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान् अचेतसा. Can anybody read this? Anybody?
But those who, out of envy, disregards these teaching and do not follow them regularly, are to be considered bereft of all knowledge, befooled, and ruined in their endeavors for perfection.
Okay. So from here, Krishna starts telling, how now, till here, Krishna told, why we get binded and what will happen. Okay. And Krishna also assured that, how to get rid of that material bondages. The solution also he told. What solution did Krishna tell to get unbinded from material bondages? Can anybody tell?
By surrendering all the works,
Wonderful.
actions.
Yes. Yes, Prabhu. So we as a human beings, we will not be able to surrender to Krishna because of certain traits within us. And one among those traits is envy. Okay. So from here, Krishna says what makes us, what blocks us to not to surrender to Krishna, and how we can get rid of that. Again, Krishna says, henceforth, going. Okay. So, because of envy, how many of you know what is envy means?
Irsha.
Yeah. So, meaning of is irsha. Those who has a tendency of not happy by seeing, the opulences of others. So, the human being's mentality may be like, why should Lord enjoy always? Why shouldn't I? This was the strongest feeling which brought us back to this material world. Okay, so how many of you how many of you know that what was our actual position? Whatever you comes to your mind, please say no problem. Whether it's right or wrong, doesn't matter.
Actual position is Krishna consciousness.
Okay.
Otherwise, all material only. Whatever you do, Salpamasya Dharmasya Traito Mahato Bhayat.
Okay.
Ekam
Anybody?
2.40.
Yeah.
Whatever little advancement you do, it will be carried forward and need not fear.
Okay. So my question is like, I want to put it like this. Where did we come from?
Huh? Hello?
Where did we come from? What was our actual position? Where were we? And
We
from
were
where
there
did we?
with Krishna only, but due to our mistakes, we
Okay. Thank you, Krishna. No problem. Anybody else wants to say? Yes, Seema Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, your question was where did we came from and what's our position, right?
Yes, what was our position? Yes.
We are part and parcels of the Supreme Lord,
Okay.
and our eternal and constitutional position is the servants of the Lord, servants and the servants of the Lord.
Right.
And because of our desire, we
Okay.
came down to this material world.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. Yeah. So Mataji rightly said that, we are parts and parcels of God. We were the part of spiritual world. Okay. However, we had a feeling that, we had a kind of little envy that why shouldn't I enjoy? Why should Lord enjoy always. That feeling brought us back to the material world. A few days back we discussed about the story of Tulsi Maharani. In that, Tulsi Maharani and the Shankar, Sudama Brahman, both were Goloka Vasis, but both had a feeling of enjoying separately. Because of that, they had to descend to the earth and they had to undergo the human form of life. In the same way, we also we were part of the spiritual world. We at one point of time we had a gut feeling that I also want to enjoy independently. But that made us to fall back onto this material world, fall into this material world. Okay, now we are trying to revive our consciousness by undergoing different scriptural studies. Okay. So we are trying to revive, we are trying to understand, memorize, remember our actual position, and we are trying to go back to Godhead. Okay. In that process, Krishna prescribes a few things. How do we have to live? How do we have to discharge our prescribed duties? And in that process, what makes us to block in discharging of prescribed duties in a prescribed manner? That is envy. Envy of why I should enjoy, why shouldn't I enjoy independently? So it is not that, God doesn't want us to enjoy. He wants us to enjoy by making him part of our enjoyment. Okay. So I'll repeat again the statement. So God never had a feeling, God never stops us to enjoy. Krishna wants us to enjoy. However, he wants us to make him as a part of our enjoyment. That is what is Krishna wanted to convey. As long as you enjoy by making Krishna as part of your enjoyment, you are safe. Okay. So can anybody repeat this statement? Maybe in your words. What Krishna wants?
Whatever we do, like we should involve Krishna in it.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Wonderful. So Krishna wants us to enjoy, however, he wants us to make him as part of our enjoyment. So in the beginning of this second chapter, it is said, um, whatever you enjoy, if you offer it to God and enjoy, then you will be out of karmic reactions. Otherwise, it will be considered as you will be considered as thief, and the consequences of thief. The thief has to undergo the punishment. That's the reason. Whatever which comes across to you, we experience it. We have it as a blessing of Lord. Remember the Lord and enjoy it, undergo it. Then we will be at safe side. So here Krishna is telling envy is the biggest thing that that blocks us to carry out the karmas, discharge the karmas without fruiting mentality. Did I say it correct? So envy is one thing, one trait which blocks. So which blocks. Can anybody continue the statement? Envy is the biggest thing which blocks us.
Devotional service.
Yeah. The envy is the biggest thing which blocks us, okay, to perform the karmas as prescribed by Krishna. Okay. Now let's understand what hence Krishna says. Sadrisam chestate swasya prakritir jnanavan api prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Can anyone read this translation?
Yes, Prabhuji. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. what can repression accomplish?
So
Hare.
Krishna again, trying to tell that. So he told that envy is the one which blocks you to, perform the karmas in a prescribed manner. However, Krishna is also telling that it's not so easy that in a person can get rid of envy. However, when we are in material nature, it's a common thing that we also have to undergo the three modes of material nature. When those three modes of material nature are within us, uh, how can we perform the karmas? How can we repression? How can we step on them and perform karmas? We'll understand further. Yes, sir. Venkatesh Sri Govindas Prabhu, you got a question? You want to ask a question?
No, I just wanted to share something regarding envy. You were speaking about envy.
Okay.
So regarding that, I just wanted to share something. If you permit me, I will just say it just takes around 2 minutes. If it is not a
Yeah,
it's
go
not
ahead.
a problem.
Go ahead, no problem. Share.
So yes, Prabhu. This is from His Grace Murali Manohar Prabhuji.
Mhm.
So he is writing about this. Envy. He has said about 4 types of envy.
Okay.
There he says in Srimad Bhagavatam also 3.32 to 3.9, 3.9.
Mhm.
Canto 3, 32.39 and 42. That is this thing. And then he says there are 4 types of envies. One is Khala, Dvesha, Asuya, Matsara. So in English, Khala means actually plans and executes the destruction of other living entities. So it comes as P. Dvesha is enmity for them in our minds. Asuya is subtle envy, and Matsara is total envy. So if these 4 things are, the first letters of these four words are put together, it comes as plans, enmity, subtle, and total. So it can be remembered as a mnemonic as PEST, PEST. So I just wanted to share that, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Sorry
Thank
if I have
you.
interrupted.
No, that was a good analytical study about envy. Okay. Nice, bro. Thank you. The division, the breakup of enemy. What are the sub branches of enemy?
4 types.
4 types.
4 types.
Yeah. So, anyways, what we have to understand, envy is the biggest thing that stops us to perform prescribed karmas in the manner they are prescribed to do. Okay. So we have to get rid of that enemy. However, Krishna again telling that it's not easy. In another sense, indirectly is saying that when you are in material world, when you are aligned, mingled with the material nature, material nature, your own nature will come, and you will always wish to follow whatever you feel to do, whatever we feel. Obviously, that's what people say that it's your right to do what you want to do. You have to fight for your rights, all these things. Okay, so we will have our own nature. So shouldn't we give importance to our own feelings, our own nature, which is developed by mingling with the material modes of nature? And we cannot just step on them. We can't repression. We can repression. What can repression accomplish? Krishna says. Okay? So henceforth we'll see what Krishna says. इन्द्रियास्येन्द्रियास्यार्थे रागद्वेषो व्यवस्थितो तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौहस्य परिपन्तिनो. Can anyone read this?
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Please go ahead, bro.
There are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion, because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So Krishna is saying that there are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining this sense and their objects. Okay, so the raga, dvesha, I want to do, I don't want to do. It's my wish, it's not my wish. Okay, so this kind of raga, dvesha, okay, are stumbling blocks. So when in the previous sloka, Krishna said that when you are completely mingled with the material nature, you will develop your own nature. According to your own nature, my own nature is that I feel that everyone should act according to me, and I feel that every circumstance should be favorable to me. Every endeavor that I do should be successful. The I-centric will come when you are completely mingled with the material nature. However, it's not easy to get rid of, make ourselves away from the material modes of nature because we are in material nature. Okay. However, there is a process to regulate this raga dvesha. I want, I doesn't want. Okay, so that regulation we have to understand. How do we have to regulate it? I mean, if we don't regulate it, then I will have n number of desires. I will have n number of wants. If I start performing, if I if I start or imposing those on people around me, then I am none other than a demon, like the demons that we have in our history. However, if everybody wants to, uh, if everybody wants their own wishes, their own, nature, their own favorable things to happen, then, I mean, there won't be any peace in the world. Okay. At some sort of time, we have to give place for others' ideas also. So we have to give place for though it may not be a convenience part for us by accommodating the regulative modes, but still, we have to give place for the regulative modes. We have to put it. Otherwise, we will become wild. We will become a wild animal in fulfilling our wishes. Okay. So henceforth, Krishna says, how do we regulate our raga dveshas? Okay. So let's see what Krishna says. So this is a very, very important sloka. I want everybody to, I request everybody to memorize this sloka, which will eventually help you, okay? Which will help you not to come under the clutches of material modes of nature and not to come under your own raga dveshas. So I will read the sloka and I want all of you also to read at least one time after I recite. Okay? Shreyan swadharmo vignah paradharmat swanshtitat swadharme nidanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. Who wants to read first? I want everyone to recite this sloka. I'll ask one by one. Yeah, first Pooja Kataria Mataji.
Shreyan Savadharma
Vigunaha
Vigunaha Paradharma
Paradharma
Savanushtatam
Swanishtithat.
Swanishtidhat
I'll tell you.
Swa
Anushti
Swa Anushti
Dhat.
Dhat Swa Anushti Dhat Sarvadharma Nidhan Shre Paradhomo Bhayavaha.
I'll read one more time. Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha Paradharmat Swa Anushtitat Swadharme Nidanam Shreyaha Paradharmo Bhayavaha. It is far better to discharge one's own prescribed duties, even though faultily, than others' duties perfectly, perfectly. Distraction in the course of performing one's own duties better than engaging in others' duties. For to follow another's path is dangerous. Okay. So yeah, who wants to recite next? Uma, go ahead. Yes, Uma Mataji, please recite the sloka. Hare Krishna. Uma Mataji, are you there? Okay. Lakshmi Mataji, please go ahead. Next.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Shreyan swadharmo viguna paradharmat sanushtitat swadharme nidhanam shreya paradharmo bhayavaha.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, sir.
Can I read, can I read, Prabhuji?
Uma Mataji? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
We were calling you. Okay. Go ahead.
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्व अनुष्ठितः स्वधर्मे निधानं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, sir. Shivam Prabhu, please read.
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणा परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधिनं श्रेय परधर्मो भव्यव्यः
Bhayavaha.
भयावहः.
Yeah. Okay. So, yes, Seema Mataji, please go ahead.
Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swa anushtitat swadharme nidhanam shreya paradharmo bhayavaha.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, prior to this, you said one more shloka for us to learn. What was that? Prior to this, you have taken another class for third chapter.
Third chapter, one more sloka.
It 108, it is 9, 13, 14, 21, and 27. Only these we have learned. So these are the extra.
Yeah, yes, I want the third chapter. I want to walk you through sloka by sloka. Yeah, that's the reason.
Okay, Prabhu, you can just text in the group. This 30.
Mataji, I have noted down. It's 3.7, Mataji.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mata. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you, Puja Mataji. Yeah. Yes, Krishna Rao Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Sriyan Swadharma Vignaha Paradharma Swa Anushtitat Swadharma Nidhanam Sreya Paradharmo Bhayavaha.
Yeah.
Bhayavaha.
Yeah.
Bhayavaha.
Yes, Shanti Mataji, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Shreyan swadharmo vigunah paradharmat swa anushtitat swadharme nidhanam shreyah paradharmo bhayavaha.
Thank you very much. Yes, Gita Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji. Shreyan swadharmo viguna paradharmat swa anushtitat swadharme nidhanam shreya paradharmo bhayavaha.
Thank you. So we also have Likit. Likit, could you please read this sloka? Hare Krishna. Yeah, Pavan Jadhav Prabhu, could you please try reciting this sloka? Okay, we also have Bhargavi Mataji. Bhargavi Mataji?
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect, but I'll try,
No
Prabhuji.
problem, please try.
Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swa anushchitat swadharme nidanam shreya paradharmo bhayavaha.
Perfect. Yes, Bharat Prabhu, please go ahead.
Yes. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Shreyan swadharmo vigunah paradharmat swa anushtitat swadharme nidanam shreya paradharmo bhayavaha.
Perfect, thank you. Who did not read yet? Gita Mataji, you recited, right?
Yes,
We did not
Prabhuji, I did it.
Okay. Who wants to read?
I
Dharmesh?
want to read. Prabhu.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
श्रेयान् सद्धर्मो विगुणः परधर्म अनुष्ठितः स्वधर्मे निधानं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः.
Perfect. Thank you, bro. Do we have Dharmesh Prabhu in the class?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Dharmesh Prabhu, please go ahead.
श्रेयान् सर्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् अनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भाव्यः.
Bhayavaha.
भागः.
Bhaya. So this is one of the very, very favorite sloka of mine. Shreyan Swadharmo Vignaha Paradharmat Swanishtitat Swadharme Nidhanam Shreyaha Paradharmo Bhayavaha. Can anybody read the translation?
Can I, Prabhuji?
Yeah, please, Bhargav Maharaj, go ahead.
It is far better to discharge one prescribed duties, even though, what is that, Prabhuji?
Faultly.
Faultly, than others' duties perfectly.
Yeah.
Distraction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in others' duties. For to follow another path is dangerous.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So in the previous slokas, Krishna told what blocks us to perform our prescribed duties. And next, Krishna, what did Krishna said after that? Can anybody, does anybody remember? Does anybody remember what blocks us to perform our karmas, prescribed karmas?
Envy.
Envy.
Yeah, raga dvesha. Okay. And now to get rid of that raga dvesha, so Krishna also told that, obviously, when we are in this material world, we all will have our own, menu of wishes, our own eye-centric interests. Everybody likes to do whatever they want, and everybody likes others to act as per their wish. However, but if everybody wants, if you are thinking that others want to act according to your wish, then they also has a independence to wish that you should act as per their interest, right? So they also has Raga Dvesha, you also have Raga Dvesha, hence both of us have Raga Dvesha. Then my Raga Dvesha should, happen, and your Raga Dvesha should happen, hence, both will fight. So that is the reason there is a regulation which is imposed, and that regulation is Dharma. So hence Krishna is prescribing that. Yes, Bharat Bhushan Babu, you have a question. You raised your hand. You want to ask anything?
No, Prabhuji, like by mistake. Thank you.
Yes, Shanti Tanaya Mataji, you got a question you want to ask?
Oh no, sorry.
No
I
problem.
forgot to lower the hand.
No problem, no problem. Okay. So everybody has their own raga dveshas, and they want, they like something, they don't like something. Everybody has likes and dislikes. Okay. So if it is not possible to accommodate everybody's likes and dislikes. Hence, there is a regulation which is being prescribed. We have to follow that regulation, and that regulation is dharma. Shreyan Swadharma, and dharma will change as per the time and circumstance. Okay, dharma, it can be altered, or it will be changed as per the time and circumstance. If I am I'm wearing this dress, Kantimala Tilaka, joining in this class, delivering the class, giving the class, sharing the knowledge. My dharma is to share what is being taught to me by my, Sikshana Gurus. I cannot talk something else which comes into my mind. I have to align what is being told to me in this parampara, and I have to share that. And once I go back to my office, then I cannot start delivering a spiritual class. I cannot tell them that I deliver so many spiritual classes. People listen to me, people applause me. Then you all should listen to me like that. I can't do in office. My dharma in office gets changed once I step into the office. Okay, so we have to understand our prescribed duties, dharmas, based on the position what we are going to perform. Okay, so for example, like in a corporate office, so we will be assigned with different types of responsibilities or tasks or projects, whatever it may be. Okay, so if we will be told, I mean, we will get instructions from our immediate leaders or managers, whoever it may be, to do certain things. Okay. However, if we had an interest of doing something else than which is being told to us, uh, now what will your manager ask? Can anybody answer? Anyway,
What was the work I have assigned to you? Like,
uh,
I'll ask.
yeah, obviously a question comes. What is the work that I assigned to you, and what did you do? Even if you have did something, perfectly, but your manager will ask, what did I ask you to do? Living off your own, task that is assigned to you. Then if you have did something else perfectly by leaving these, then who will do this task? However, you have did the exact task what your manager told in the way he asked you to do. However, the results were not, the end of that, the results were not appreciable. Something went wrong, and something happened. You did perfectly in that task which is assigned to you perfectly, but the results were not satisfactory. Then what will your manager say? He might ask you that, why did it went wrong? We can go back to him and say that, I did whatever you said. I did in the way you suggested. Then he will have nothing to say back to us. Do you agree with my statement?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So the tasks which are assigned to you, if you perform them in the way they are supposed to be performed, are bit, while performing those, even little faults may happen, but still, you're doing the tasks which are assigned to you, then your manager will be happy with you. But if you leave off this and if you do something else, then he will not be happy. He will, yell on you. He will shout on you. He will ask you, who asked you? What was the, who asked you to do that? But if you have did something and if your manager asks you that, who asked you to do that, then if you show an email that, the so and so day, that day, this was assigned to me, that's the reason I did, then, he will not have any other thing to say. He cannot question you back, right? So that's the reason. So in this material world also, there are certain dharmas, there are certain regulative principles which are prescribed to the human form, human beings. If one follow them, if one carry out them, then that's the greatest job that favors, that is very much favor to God, with which you can get rid of the material clutches. But if you start giving importance to your ragadveshas, the enemy, then again, same thing will happen. You will get binded, again, the same suffering will happen. However, if you develop your consciousness in such a way that I will give importance to the prescribed responsibilities that are assigned to me, instead of my own nature. So for example, within your family, you might encounter an elder of your family whom you may not like to respect. However, Shastras say that no matter no matter how much Hare Krishna, if you're not talking, please be on mute. Okay? So within your family, if there is a elderly person whom you do not like, okay, because of your nature, okay, or because of something they did which is not favorable to you. However, if you start dishonoring them, then you will further get into the bondage of material life. However, if the same elderly person who is not favorable to you or who never did anything in favor of you, but still considering him as an elderly person of the family, honoring him based on the position, based on the age that he has, if you start honoring them, then people will appreciate you. You will further get rid of the material bondages. Okay. And here you are not giving importance to your raga dvesha. You are giving importance to the dharma that need to be followed, which has been prescribed in scriptures, which has been followed. Even Arjuna, when he was when he was daily coming to the battlefield, do you know how he used to come? He used to take a circumambulation of the Bhishma Pitamaha, Dronacharya. He used to bow down to them. He used to take their blessings, and then he used to start fighting. No, he used to encounter them, however, but he used to respect them. He never thought that, these people are fighting against to me so that, they don't hold respect from me. They are not deserve, they don't deserve to be respected by me. He never thought that. Though they are fighting against to me, they are elders of my family. They are the one, who taught me everything. So hence, even if they chastise me, even if they encounter me, I still have to respect. It's a duty that I have to do. That's the reason I'm encountering them. With that mode only, Arjuna fought with his elders in the battlefield. He was able to do that because he was a karma yogi. Because he learned the knowledge of karma yoga by Krishna. In the beginning, he was reluctant to fight. Later on, he agreed to fight. What made him to agree? The knowledge made him to agree. The knowledge gave him confidence to fight. Okay, so that is that is how we have to, improve our knowledge. So we are coming to the end of the second chapter. So after this, sloka, Arjuna asks a beautiful question, which again a confirmation, which again Krishna gives confirmation about that. Arjuna asks Krishna that Athakena parayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anichinnapi varsneya balat ivaniyojitaha. Can anybody read this? Anybody?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Arjun, okay.
Arjuna said, O descendant of
Vrishni.
by what is one compelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force?
Yeah, Arjuna asking a simple question, my dear Krishna. How come human beings fall into do sinful activities as if they are forced to do? So we involve in doing sinful activities as if somebody is, forcing us to do. Why does that happen? Is what Arjuna's question. Do you agree with that or not? How many of you agree that, we perform sinful activities as if somebody asks us to do. How many of you agree with that statement?
No, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. Almost all of
Yes,
us go
Prabhuji.
through the same things.
I mean, unknowingly or knowingly, we fall into performing the sinful activities. So, it's a very simple sinful activities. Shastras prescribe that we are supposed to get up in the Brahma Muhurat, okay, um, and start our day by doing japa. But we don't do that because of our commitments, because of our late night sleep, all those, because of our lifestyle. Okay, so these are the forces which force us not to get up early in the morning. Hence, we fall into a sin. However, it's not a very, very big sin, but that thing which doesn't help you to progress in your spiritual life is also called as sin. So we somehow or other, because of our entanglement with the material nature, we again and again fall into performing different kinds of sins. Okay. And Arjuna is asking, my dear Krishna, tell me what is that forces human beings to perform sins. Now Krishna Krishna again assures the same thing what he told. I mean something similar to the same he told previously. Okay, so Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kamesha Krodesha Rajoguna Samudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapapma Vitti Enam Ihavairinam. This is also one of the important sloka which I request all of you to please, make a note and practice remembering this sloka, which will definitely help you to, stay away in performing the sinful activities or getting involved in doing sinful activities. Okay, so I request anybody to recite this sloka as well. Who wants to take first chance to recite? Yes.
Prabhu, can I?
Yeah, after Puja Mataji, Sima Mataji, you please. Yeah, Puja Mataji, please go ahead.
Shri Bhagavan Vache.
Yeah.
Karma ishe, krodha ishe, rajya guna, samudhav, maha ashe, maha papam, vidhi inna, ite var varjan varanam.
Vairinam.
Varanam. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yes, sir. Sima Mataji, please go ahead.
Shri Bhagwan Uvacha Kamesha Krodesha Rajoguna Samudbhava Mahashano Mahapapma Videinam Ihavairinam. Translation you want me to read?
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is lust only, Arjuna, which is being born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world." Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Yes, Krishna Rao, bro, please read. Krishna Rao, Prabhu, are you there?
Yes, now I'll unmute. Yes,
Yeah.
Prabhuji, now I'm muted.
Yeah,
Shri
read.
Bhagwan Vacha Kamesha Krodesha Rajagana Samudbhaha Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyayena Mihavairinam.
Yeah. So I will do one thing. I will also record the recitation of these two slokas which I told you, 3.37, and what was the other one?
3.7.
3.35, Prabhuji.
Yeah, 3.7, 3.35, and 3.37. Okay. So I will make a note. I will recite those slokas, recitation, which will help you to, learn how to recite them. I'll make a note of them so that I don't forget. So that all of you can memorize these slokas. So by what will happen by memorizing these slokas is that when you are involved in your material life, when you memorize and when you recite these slokas, Krishna will give you a memory of these references when you are about to perform any kind of activity that will bind you in material life or karma. Okay? So that's the reason. 3.7.
3.35, 3.37.
Okay. 3.37. Okay. So that it will be helpful to all of you in reciting the sloka. So Krishna is confirming the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is lust only. Kamesha Krodesha. Out of Kama and Krodha, this Rajoguna will evolve. Samudbhava. Mahashino Mahapapma Vidyenam Ihavairina. So this Kama lust, in second chapter, Krishna told how the lust will develop. Does anybody remember?
From anger.
No. Anger will.
ध्यायते विषयपुंसां सङ्गस्त्वेषोपजायते संगात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोपजायते.
Yes.
By contemplating
भवति सम
materialistic desires.
Wonderful, Lakshmi Mataji. Wonderful. Yes.
क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः
Smriti Bhramshat,
बुद्धिनाशात्
Buddhinashat, Pranasya.
प्रणश्यति.
So lust, the starting point, the root cause of lust is dhyayato vishayan pumsaha, contemplating with the material objects. So I see something, I hear something, I talk to somebody, I talk to a woman, I talk to a man, I involve in some things. And by having constant contemplation or constant attachment, constant interaction, the desire of I want, lust will develop, irrespective of whether you deserve to have that or not. Okay, so Krishna is confirming that. Kamesha Krodesha Rajoguna Samudbhava Mahashino Mahapapma Vidyenam Ihavairinam. Arjuna asked a question: how does human beings fall into performing sinful activities? And Krishna is confirming lust, which is developed. Okay, out of lust, when the lust doesn't fulfill, Krodha will come. So if you want something and if that doesn't happen, that doesn't get fulfilled, then you will fall into anger. Okay? So we see many, different kind of brutal activities in the society these days. A boy, desiring to, have a girl, and if she rejects his proposal, and this fellow who developed lust towards that girl and attacks her with acid or attacks her with stabs her with a knife, something. In the same way, though that is a very, very gross level, very, very high level of sin. In the same, and there are some certain level, small, very, very low level also there. At our home, we desire to have something, and we desire to act one of your family according to your wish, but he doesn't or she doesn't. Then you will develop, angry, krodha upon them, and that eventually, may become a violent sometimes, and that eventually breaks the relation. Of course, performing krodha to fix something to certain level is good, but the krodha, you continuing the krodha, the angry for a longer period is not good. Just because somebody or something doesn't happen according to your whims, okay, your wish, that you should not fall into the krodha. You have to you have to analyze, whether am I, personally wishing that, or it is the right way, or it should happen in that way. Am I as do I want that to happen according to me or according to dharma? That contemplation, that analysis you have to do when you are stuck with any kind of a circumstance, any kind of maybe while dealing with your relations, or while desiring to have something, then that is called intelligence, and that intelligence will help you to withdraw your senses, from the material nature, and stay steady in your spiritual life. So Krishna is confirming Kamesha, Krodesha, Rajoguna, Samudbhava, Mahashino, Mahapapa. This Kama and Krodha are the two factors that drag the human beings to perform different kinds of sins. So the Rajoguna is one of the mode of material nature. Okay. So here in this loka, Krishna also giving a clue that how do we develop strong bonding with the material nature of material modes of nature. So our lust is a bridge between us and the material modes of nature, which creates a bond between the material modes of nature. Okay, our lust, your own lust will build a nice bridge between the material modes of nature. Okay, and which will allow material modes of nature to influence your real position. So hence, here you have to be very, very, you have to understand things in a very, very subtle level. That doesn't mean lust or desire doesn't mean that, you are not allowed to desire anything. Yes, you are allowed to have a desire. You are allowed to undergo desires. You are allowed to, have certain aims in your life which are rightful. So when we are desiring something, definitely, after you study these scriptures for a long period, you will definitely get that sort of mature intelligence, which will immediately, when a desire, pops up in your mind, the spiritual intelligence that you have developed by undergoing or, attending these kind of classes will help you to comprehend whether that desire is a rightful one or not. If not, then again you will get influenced with the material modes of nature, and which will drag you to further bondages, which will allow the lust and anger to develop, and we will act according to their instructions. Okay, so. Next, what Krishna says is, he's saying that, how our mind is completely covered. Okay. So, Krishna says, Dhumena vriyate vannihi yatha darsho malecha etolvena vruto garbha tata tinadam avratam. Can anybody read this translation?
Shall I
As
read?
fire,
Yes, Shivam Prabhu, please go ahead.
As fire is covered by smoke, as the mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered by the womb, the living entity is similarly covered by different degrees of this lust.
Krishna is clarifying. So when you have taken a human form of life, it is impossible for you not to have lust. At some degree, we will have that lust. We will have the desire to enjoy. However, as we spoke earlier, It's not wrong to enjoy, but it's wrong to enjoy without Krishna. So in the future chapters, Krishna says that, balam balavatam chaham dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. Krishna clarifies in the future chapters, in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that, my dear Arjuna, the, lust not, which is not against to the dharma, is a rightful lust to have. Here Krishna is saying that lust is the, cause of all sinful activities, the root cause of all sinful activities, and we will have lust to certain degrees. However, if you stop listening to here only, then that is my life just meant to lead without any desires or without any kind of wishes that I want? No, you are allowed to. However, just recheck the degree of the lust that you have, whether it is abiding to the dharmas or whether it is binding you to the material modes of nature. That analysis that you have to do, that kind of maturity, Krishna is sharing to us. Okay, hence what Krishna says. Okay, avrutam jnanam etena jnanino nityavairina kamarupena kaunteya dushpurena nalena cha. Can anybody read this? Anybody?
Thus, the wise living entity, pure consciousness, becomes uncovered by his internal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burn like fire.
So the living entity is pure consciousness. When you have lust, unlimited lust, it will cover your consciousness in the way how the smoke is heated in the fire and how the embryo is covered. Okay, in that way, your consciousness will be covered with lust. If you have if you undergo a unregulated lust, that will cover your consciousness. So, Indriyani manobudir asyadishthanamuchyate etervimohayat esha jnanam avritya dehinam. Can anybody read this? Anybody?
The sense, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting place of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him.
So Krishna is telling the position of lust, where and all the lust sits. So we have 10 indriyas. Some are called karmendriyas, 5 are called karmendriyas, 5 are called jnanendriyas. And these indriyas, apart from these indriyas, there is one thing which is mind. In Sanskrit it's called manas, okay, which is being controlled by all of these. Controls all of these. So the 10 karmendriyas, can anybody tell the 5 karmendriyas?
Eyes, nose, skin, ears, mouth.
What are jnanendriyas? Okay, so karmendriyas, jnanendriyas difference is that, the indriyas with which you can do some activities and that with the indriyas with which you can experience something. So with the tongue, you can experience the taste. Okay, and with eyes, you can see something. And with hands and legs and with you can perform some activities, and with your genitals, they help you to excrete the wastage from the body. Those are karmendriyas. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So, can anybody tell what are karmendriyas?
Karma. Means we can feel by doing things, na Prabhuji.
Okay.
By seeing, by tasting, by smelling, by feeling. Is that karma indriyas, Prabhuji?
Okay. Okay.
Am I wrong, Prabhuji?
No. Yeah. Good. Thank you for trying. No problem. So I'm expecting, others also to say something.
The organs that are involved in the action are
Oh.
called karmendriyas.
Okay. Good.
And the organs that are used as senses are called jnanendriyas.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
So they are being headed by the, master who is mind. Okay. And Krishna is telling that, so they are being headed by the mind and intelligence. Okay. Manas and buddhi. Okay. And if, and Krishna is telling that this manas and buddhi, the mind and, the intelligence are the sitting places of lust. If the lust starts in your mind, how does it start? By seeing something, by tasting something, by experiencing something, by walking into something, by different kind of reactions in your body, the way your genitals respond. Okay. So by these activities, but with this, the lust will develop in the mind. However, if we have regulation on them by following the different principles of the different regulative principles, then your mind and intelligence will become clean. They don't give chance for lust to sit in your mind. So now Krishna is hinting, where does this lust come from? How do they, what is their position in the human form of life? I mean, where do they sit? However, he told mind and intelligence. Okay, how do we cleanse our mind and intelligence? By having, soft, sattvic thoughts, by undergoing, by attaching to the sattvic practices like japa, hearing to the pastimes of Lord, by glorifying the Lord, and developing your attachment to the sadhu sangha. Okay, and with these you can cleanse your mind and buddhi, the intelligence. The mind and intelligence will not allow lust to sit. Okay. So we are about to end the third chapter. Okay, so this Tasmatvam Indriyanyato Niyame Bharatarshapa Papmanam Prajahinam Jnana Vijnana Nashanam. So can anybody read this?
Therefore, O Arjun, best of the
Bharatas.
Bharatas in the very beginning cured this great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the sense and slay the destroyer of knowledge and self-realization.
So Krishna started saying that, how does, we become influenced to Raga Dvesha? How do we develop envy? Though, of course, we are in material nature, that is a very, very common thing for a human being to undergo the envy. However, how to regulate that by following the dharma? And, then Arjuna asked a question like, what makes human beings to perform any sin, then Krishna said Kamesha Krodesha, the lust is the root cause of performing somebody, allowing somebody to fall into sinful activities. Okay, now Krishna also said what are those places where lust sits, and how do we avoid lust to come and sit in our intelligence, mind and intelligence. So regulation is the process, regulating the senses as per the uh, prescribed activities by scriptures. And those regulative activities, can anybody tell what are those regulative activities which will help the mind and intelligence to get regulated?
Association like Sadhu Sangha.
Yes.
Chanting, hearing Krishna Katha,
Yes.
and eating Krishna Prasadam.
Yes. And shall I tell you one, I'll tell you one thing. Even after, spending time, even after being in association of sadhu, even after listening to the pastimes of Lord, even after glorifying the Lord, the lust desires will still develop. However, you know what kind of desires will develop? That desires, which will, ask you to have furthermore association, have furthermore experience, and hear the, pastimes of the desires are still there. But when you associate with sadhu sangha, when you associate with spiritual things, and when you associate with Krishna, the desires of spiritual desires will develop. That will help you. Okay, so human beings are allowed to have desires. However, we cannot refrain, we cannot stay away, we cannot stop ourselves not to have any desires. It's impossible. Human mind, your intelligence, your body will some or other way, some or other level, it will ask you something, it will keep on asking you something. However, if you are not in touch with the spiritual activities, then it will ask you the material things. When you are in touch with the spiritual, activities, spiritual people, spiritual knowledge, then it will ask you to, it will ask you the spiritual things only. Okay? That's how you are changing the theme of your desires by being with the spiritual activities, the spiritual knowledge, the absolute truth. Okay, so that's how we have to regulate and continue in the self-realization path. Okay, so indriyani paranyahur indriye vyaparam manaha manasastu para buddheye buddhe paratastu saha. Can anybody read this?
The working sense are superior to dull matters. Mind is higher than the sense. Intelligence is still higher than the mind. And he, the soul, is even higher than the intelligence.
Yeah, here Krishna is giving the hierarchy. First of all, we have to understand the greatest thing that we have to understand, which will make us regulate, is I am not this body, I am the spirit soul. If you have this feeling very, very strongly, okay, that I am the soul which is being put to suffer just because of my unregulated way of lifestyle, okay, which is making me to travel lives and lives and lives from such a long time, which is taking me away to Krishna. If you know this feeling, if you have this feeling very, very strongly, then automatically you will find out the regulation process. You will crave to follow the regulative process, because when you know that you being a soul is been making to suffer just because of the lusty desires that you had, and when you realize this truth, then you will definitely follow the regulative principles. So here Krishna is telling the hierarchy. Indriyani paranyahur. Better than Indriyas is, I mean, with the dull matter. Better than the dull matter is indriyas. The 10, 5 karmendriyas and 5 jnanendriyas. And better than the indriyas is your mind, the manas. And better than the manas is buddhi, the intelligence. And better than the buddhi is the soul. Okay. So indriyas will give signals to the mind. Okay. And mind will give signals to the buddhi. And buddhi will decide whether it is good or bad, which will help you to further go into self-realization or not. And buddhi will even decide where the soul should go, because the activities that you do with intentions will become impressions, the vasanas, and these vasanas will make you, your soul, make us the soul to travel for further lives in material life, or to travel back to Godhead. Okay. So each one influence one another. So when you know this knowledge, when you give importance to the self-realization, automatically, when your life becomes the centric, the God-centric, the self-realization path which tells you to understand your relationship with God, the soul relationship with God, then automatically your regulation process will start. Okay. So this is the last sloka of the third chapter, 3.43. Evam buddhe param buddhva samsthabhyatmanamatmana jai shatrum mahabaho kama rupam durasadam. Can anybody read this?
Thus, knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material sense, mind, and intelligence, O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind of the deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness, and thus, by spiritual strength, conquer this instability enemy known as lust.
Unstable enemy known as lust. So how can we conquer the unstable enemy of lust? What Krishna is saying?
Spiritual intelligence and Krishna consciousness.
Okay, I request all others also to please answer to this question. How can we conquer the lust?
Spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness.
Wonderful, Prabhu, wonderful. Anybody else? I request all of you to say this at least
Rather
once.
than having,
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Rather than having that lusty desires to doing it for self,
Yeah.
so we should have that desires to fulfill the for Lord's satisfaction. We can regulate that towards Lord's service.
Yes, that is also Krishna consciousness. Yes. Yeah.
Using our senses for Krishna's gratification.
Wonderful, Prabhu. Thank you. Yes, others, Bharat Bhushan Prabhu, who all we have? Lakshmi Mataji, Supraja Salagram Mataji, Dharmesh Prabhu, Bhargavi Mataji.
Developing a higher taste to serve Krishna.
Yeah, that will help us to conquer the lust. Okay. Okay, anybody else?
If you know who is Krishna, if you know who is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we surrender to Him, surrender, absolute surrender, then he may, Lord Krishna may give us the intelligence to overcome lust.
Thank you, bro. Thank you very much. Thank you all for answering. Thus ends the third chapter. So I actually wanted all of us to go through the third chapter sloka by sloka, because I feel the third chapter is an important chapter which teaches us, how do we how do we fall into a trap of doing sinful activities, how to regulate, what makes us to regulate, what is important, what is the common simple thing that we have to follow, which will make us to stay away doing the sinful things. Okay. to what kind of feelings we have to give importance. Now, all these things are discussed in third chapter. Okay, that's the reason I wanted this chapter to be taken sloka by sloka. And so if you have time, please read this third chapter, which is very, very important, because we are in this material world. We cannot stay away. We cannot renounce. We cannot renounce the activities. Okay, we have to perform activities for sure. However, the same activities will help you to elevate, and same activities will help make you to deviate. Same activities will help you to elevate, and same activities will help you to deviate. It's just that with what consciousness you're doing will make you to elevate, but what consciousness you're doing will help you to deviate from spiritual path. Okay, so Krishna clarifies that how, from what starting point, you know, what is the starting point which makes us to deviate from spiritual path, or which makes us to deviate from performing our prescribed duties, the dharma. Okay. So, and Krishna also assured that just surrender to me, I'll take care of everything. Okay. Uh, so we have Krishna, we, we have faith in him, we have faith in his words. So if you develop relationship, if you develop Krishna consciousness by chanting regularly, by undergoing the spiritual discussions, then the faith will develop. Okay, so that's all I want to end here for today. If anybody has any questions, you can ask. Yes, Pooja Mataji.
Prabhuji, in the last sloka, that 3.43, we have read like spiritual intelligence is important. Then again, another word is there, spiritual strength. What is the difference between spiritual intelligence and spiritual strength?
Let's share that. One should study the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness, and thus by spiritual strength. Okay. So the difference between spiritual intelligence and spiritual strength is that you will develop your consciousness to be Krishna consciousness. Okay, that is your mind, the buddhi. Okay, spiritual strength is that the more stronger your intelligence is there, the more stubborn you will be towards material things which are attacking you to get deviate from the spiritual intelligence. For example, you are a devotee, you chant, you listen to the classes, you try to associate with devotees, and somebody of your family member or somebody, your friends who may be, they come and they sarcastically say that what kind of life you are leading, is this the life, this is the one life that God gave us, we have to enjoy to the full extent, you people doesn't know how to enjoy, your lives are gone, see how nicely we're enjoying, what do you get by doing so, like that, people may discourage to stop performing spiritual activities and encourage to involve in performing material activities. Okay, at that circumstance, if you don't have a strength to conquer those feelings, that the seducing points that they say, then you will immediately, your intelligence will be corrupted and you will follow them. So the more strong your intelligence is, the more spiritual strength you will have to stay away from material worlds. Even if somebody discourages, also you will still try to continue to be Krishna conscious. And that is the spiritual strength, Mataji. You getting undeviated, you being having strong faith is called spiritual strength. Is that clear?
Okay, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Anybody
And
else?
one more thing, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mother.
Yeah, God gave you literally a lot of blessings. When it comes to reading Sanskrit, Prabhuji, you are jet plane, okay? And what about the people like me who are snail, not even cycle? Prabhuji, when you read, it's like too fast. And for me, like reading all the syllables is like very, very fast. So please, can you just, the important sloka, can you once record and share in the group so that we can read that? Can speak little slower so that snail people like me can also read that later. It's because for me sometimes in the middle there are a lot of shabdavali in the middle. It's like cha is small, na is small, sometimes two na is there, so how to pronounce the two na at the same time? It's pretty much confusing how to pronounce that there. So please, can you just once record and share in the group so we can practice
Yeah,
it?
definitely, Madhuri. I'll regard and share. However, I never consider myself to be a proficient because I heard sloka recitation from senior Vaishnavas. Their way of reciting slokas are mesmerizing. And to be frank, that when I first bought Bhagavad Gita, I was unaware. I had no clue to start from where. I mean, it appeared like me when I opened the Bhagavad. I had a lot of interest to read Bhagavad Gita. I'm talking about the year 2010. 2010 is the year where when I first time bought Bhagavad Gita. So that time I had a lot of interest to read Bhagavad Gita. I bought a Bhagavad Gita and opened a Bhagavad Gita. I was clueless from where to start because everything appeared like to me same. Everything slokas, the line by line. What to read, where to read, and I had a feeling that if I read mistakenly, if I mispronounce, then I may incur in that feeling I had. Okay, however, when I got in touch with ISKCON in 2011, okay, my mentors, they encouraged to read Bhagavad Gita, they helped me to recite slokas, okay. In that way, my journey of reciting slokas started. And one of my Sikshana Guru, His Grace Dhara Krishna Prabhu, he encouraged us to memorize, read one sloka a day, which will make us perfect. So I followed the instructions of my Sikshana Guru. So hence I also request you to recite the slokas every day. At least aim to recite a few slokas every day. Okay, at least there are small chapters in Bhagavad Gita. So how I used to practice. Though I used to mispronounce, I still used to read slokas. If I don't get time, I used to read slokas while going to the office in the cab in my mobile. Okay, so because I had a lot of interest because the Sanskrit slokas are so sweet, wonderful, rhythmically they are being composed. I mean, of course, they are the words of Lord. However, whatever comes, whatever remnants that are, from Lord are beautiful. Okay, they carry the sweetness. Okay, so the more you start reciting, practicing, you will fall in love to recite the slokas. Okay, so please practice. You will become perfect. We cannot consider that one is higher and one is lower. That's not. I mean, I don't consider myself to that level that I am perfect. Okay? Everybody is perfect in one sense. Okay, everybody is imperfect in another in one sense.
Prabhuji, you are exalted devotee, Prabhuji. For us, you are the benchmark, so we are trying to be like you,
So for
reading the
all of us,
slokas.
Srila Prabhupada is the benchmark, devotee.
Yes.
We have to follow him. Okay, so you, me, all of us are at the same level. All of us are on the same boat. Okay, so we have to follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, our Sikshana Gurus. and that will help us, and their blessing will help us to progress. Yes, Gita Mataji, you raised your hand. You got a question.
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Go ahead.
Prabhuji, we talked about three modes of nature, right? And to overcome from out of all those three in nature, right? The three modes of nature. But my understanding is Sattva Guna means it's something related to good quality only, right? But still, why should we come out from that?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll explain you, Mataji. The Sattva Guna, explained as a material modes of nature, is like this. Okay, listen to it properly. So, see, giving charity to somebody eh, is a sattva guna, good activity, pious activity. Do you agree with that?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, yeah, that's a good activity. Okay, which will make us to feel better. Okay, of course, people will appreciate. But the same sattva guna, which is performed with I-centric, it's mine, I am giving. Hence, I should be glorified.
Okay,
Okay.
something like selfishness that
Yes.
I sent. Okay.
Yes, I-centric. So we have to aim for sattva to shuddha sattva. Shuddha sattva means pure consciousness. The pure consciousness is everything we address to God only. Everything we recognize as a blessing of God. If I give or if I enjoy something, I recognize that as a blessing to me from God. I don't take I don't claim myself to the proprietor of something. So that in that context is told, Mataji.
Okay. Yeah, got it, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Shivam Prabhu posted a question. Yeah, my question: why did God create three gunas? Okay. Yes, good question, Prabhu. So why did God create three gunas? Because the material nature is an extended energy, the Bahiranga Shakti of the Lord. Okay. And this energy, this material prakriti is being created for the sake of those jivas who wanted to enjoy independently. Okay. And it's a kind, we feel that, this is a kind of very nice place to enjoy. However, the real picture of this is, it is another kind of jail only, the hellish planet only. Because, nothing lasts long over here. Because since it is a material world, okay, it has a tendency to deteriorate, perish at one point of time, and again nourish at one point of time. So it starts at one point of time and it ends at one point of time. Okay. And so this quality is not there with the spiritual world. Spiritual world is permanent. Okay. And why did God create the three gunas in material nature? Is these three gunas are not there in spiritual world. So Krishna wants us come back to spiritual world. But we hence desire to stay in the material world only. Because if we are not put to suffering, then we will never aim to go back to the Godhead. We will never try to understand what is the real happiness. So if I am living with my family, and if everything is going favorable, my wife is so favorable to me, kids are favorable to me, and my in-laws are favorable to me, and my office, everything, wherever I go, everything is favoring to me only. Then why will I, hence question for happiness? At some point of time, at some place, by somebody, if we are put into suffering, then we will inquire about what is the real happiness which never gives us suffering. Okay, that is one of the reason why these three gunas are being created by Lord. we will never question if these three gunas are not there.
Okay, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, like you said, ki this three gunas, they are not present in the spiritual realm. And then how did we had a fall down? Why did Jiva fall down happen then?
Yeah. So there in spiritual world, there is like, Shuddha Sattva, people will only live. However, uh, people like, those who are there in the spiritual world, at one point of time, they, even though there is no place for these, Rajo, Tamo gunas in spiritual world, but like there is Sattva and Shuddha Sattva, I told. Okay. See, if I desire to, if I have a desire of having something, okay, that cannot be considered as a sinful activity. Based on the what we say, nature of that particular thing that I am desiring to. Okay. In the spiritual world also, like for example, if you take in Vaikunta, Vijaya and Vijaya were there. Okay. Because of their sattvic quality, because of their devotion, they got that position to guard the Vaikunta Dwaras. Okay. And the duty was given to them was to safeguard the doors of, I mean, Vaikunta Dwaras. And when the great personalities, the four Kumaras, they came and they you know I mean, they mistreated them, they dishonored them. Though there is no place for these, people who are completely, who conquered these tribunas, for them only the place, for them only the spiritual place is given. For them only, they will only be allowed to live in spiritual place. However, if again at any circumstance, if again they come back to their position, okay, so these trigunas, they develop in our mind and intelligence. Just now we understood. If under any circumstance, if they develop these, trigunas, then they are again put into the material nature. So Krishna told that, where this, lust sits in our mind and in our intelligence. Okay. So the people who always have Krishna in their mind and intelligence, okay, they will continue to live in spiritual world. At any point of time, at any circumstance, if they give chance to some other in their mind, at least for a fraction of a second, then they deserve to come back to material world. Is that clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It
Yes,
is said by Krishna that my devotee who comes back to my Loka, Goloka, Vrindavan, they won't come back to material world again.
yeah. So,
But,
go ahead.
but you were telling that again will be coming
Yeah.
if we have that desire. But it is told in Bhagavad Gita that if once we are back to Krishna, we are not going to come back here.
Absolutely correct. So there is we will take one cycle, Mataji. Once, because of some, desire or some, unfavorable activity that we did, we come back to material world. Once it will happen. Once it happens, when we come back to material world, again, when we revive and go back to Godhead, that will never happen. And there are references for this, statement also. So in the Tulsi Maharani story, Tulsi Maharani and Shankachuda, who were couple, they were the residents of Goloka. Because they had humanly feelings, they had to come back to the human form of life. Okay, and at the end, at the end, they became so eternal that the Tulsi Maharani has become the worshipable deity of every devotee. She became the eternal servant of Lord. And the Shankachuda also became a instrument which can be used in the service of Lord, which is the conch shell. Okay, so they fell down from spiritual world. They took another cycle. They revived their consciousness, and after reviving their consciousness, they have taken the eternal positions. Henceforth, they doesn't have to fall down again.
Okay, Prabhuji, that was the doubt.
So
And I
this
got
cycle,
that.
one time it will happen, and when we understand that, now that so within us also we don't know where are we falling from. Okay, so within us also, when we understand that yes, since I fell down from spiritual world, I am taking another cycle. Henceforth, let me utilize this time to revive my knowledge and go back so that I don't come back again. Then you will never come back.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for clarifying.
Well,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Anybody? Okay. Wonderful. If nobody has any other questions, then we will stop here. So thank you all for joining today's session. Okay, we will meet tomorrow again, at 7:30 p.m. with the new topic. Okay, so please continue joining in the sessions. Okay, please take association and give your association to us as well. So thank you. I wish and pray Krishna to bless all of us, all of you, those who have joined in today's session, to bless you with wonderful success in all your endeavors, material and spiritual. So Vancha kalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhobhyevacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Hare
Thank you so
Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Dandavad.
Please share the recording.